so I'm on page 171, and the focus for the next two problems that I'm going to show you, and then the practice problems that you have, are you're going to be writing algebraic expressions with more than one variable. So far, it's really just been one variable you've had to focus on, but now you're going to be working with more than one variable or different variables. And remember, variables that are not from the same family. So if you have an x and a y, you can't combine those. Those aren't like terms. X represents a value and y represents a different value, so you cannot combine them. They are not like terms. So Andrew has M coins. Catherine has half R coins. How many more coins does Andrew have than Catherine? So Andrew is the one, he's got M. Catherine has half R, and we want to find out how many more Andrew has than Catherine. So we need to take Catherine's away from Andrew's, right? And whatever is left over, once you subtract Catherine's from Andrew's, is going to be how much more Andrew has than Catherine. So to show that, I would say M minus, so my whole is Andrew. I'm going to take away what Catherine has. Well, Catherine has half R. And that is going to equal how many more coins Andrew has than Catherine. M represents Andrew. We're going to take away Catherine's amount, which is a half of an R. And once you take the half R away from Andrew's amount, whatever's left over is how many more coins Andrew has than Catherine. And we can't simplify this any further because we have an M variable and an R variable, and we've got subtraction here. We cannot, these are not like terms, so we're done. All right, let's try another one. All right, so I've got another problem. We're on page 171. Tom makes T dollars. T is a variable for what Tom makes. His sister Sandra makes U dollars. So the variable for Sandra is U dollars. So we already have the two variables, right? We knew that this skill is going to be working with more than one variable. So they're two different variables. They're both dollars. They give 12% of their earnings to charity. So what we need to write an expression for that, what that amount is. So 12% of their earnings. So we know to find 12% of something, we write that as 0.12, right? That's 1,200, that's 12%. And 12% of tells us we need to multiply to find out what is 12% of T, that's 12% of Andrew's money. And then they also give Sandra's earnings. So plus 12% of Sandra's earnings, which is U. So we could write this as 0.12 or 1,200ths T plus 1,200ths U, right? And we can't combine them because they aren't like terms. So we could leave it at that. What are other ways we could represent it? We could write it as 0.12, 12% times what Andrew makes plus what Sandra makes, right? We could write that as 12% times T plus U, because that would be the same thing. It just means that I factored out that 12% outside of the parentheses. So these expressions are equivalent. So either of those would be fine for your answer to represent the amount of money that Tom and his sister Sandra give to charity. I did it again where I didn't label my answer. It's really bad. So if this would be dollars, right? That's the amount of dollars that they gave. And then this one, technically, because I had parentheses there, I should have put a bracket so that you knew to do multiply and distribute that out. But the same thing here, this would be in dollars. Don't forget that important part of your answer. Have fun trying some ed puzzles. My bad, you get one more with me before you're gonna do your ed puzzle. So we're still on page 171, and it says example 18, and it shows some fruit, and it says Danielle, well, I should say, it says grapes, papayas, and strawberries are sold in a supermarket at the following price. And so they've got a picture that shows the fruit and signs for what the price was. And of course, they're represented with variables. So Danielle bought 4.5 pounds of grapes. So I just recorded that up there and saved myself some work. 2 6/500 or 2.65 pounds of papayas and 6 pounds of strawberries. And the question wants us to write an algebraic expression for the total cost of the fruit that Danielle bought. So the total cost means that we are going to add these three together, right? But I need to find out what my variable. So for grapes, it says it was X dollars per pound. So if we had 4.5 pounds and the sign said X dollars per pound. So we know that's going to be 4.5X, okay? So check that one off. 4.5 pounds of, and essentially I take my grapes and I called it X, right? I'll just write it so I don't forget which was for grapes. And of, usually in multiplication means, usually in math means multiplication. So you know, because we've also done unit rate, you're going to end up doing 4.5 times X, and that will tell the cost. Plus, we've got 2.65 pounds of papaya. And the sign says papaya is $1 or Y dollars per pound. So 2.65Y, because it's a 2.65 pounds times, and then the variable for this was Y. So we just add that, but we can see they're not like terms, so I'm not going to be able to combine these. But I've got a third plus 6 pounds of strawberries. And strawberries, it says, are 3/5 X dollars. So I've got 6 times 3/5 X, right? Because I had 6 pounds of strawberries, but it says that strawberries are 3/5 X dollars. All of these were in dollars. So I would not leave it that way. That right here can still be simplified because we can find out what 6 over 1, well, I shouldn't use the X sign there, times 3/5 X. So 6 times 3 is 18. 1 times 5 is 5. So I have 18/5 X. So now I have 4.5X plus 2.65Y plus 18/5 X. Am I done here? Well, I have an X, a Y, and an X term. So I am not done. I can still combine those X terms because they are like terms. They're both in the X family. So as I look at this, I have a decimal and I have a fraction, and it's in fifths and this is in tenths. So whenever I can, like, convert things easily into a decimal form to make my life easier, why not do it? So now that we have 18/5, before I bring that over as a decimal, I can say, well, how many times what does 18/5 equal to as a decimal? Well, 5 goes into 18 3 times, right? Because 3 times 5 is 15. And I have 3/5 left over. So these are equivalent, right? And I could double check my work. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 3 is 18, 18/5. Mm-hmm. So 18/5 equals 3 3/5. And 3 3/5, since this is in tenths, can easily be written as 3 6/10, which can be written as 3.6, right? Make my life easier here, but it'll be 3.6x. So I come back over here, 4.5x plus this 18/5 x, I'm going to write as 3.6x, so I took care of that one, plus 2.65y. So I can combine 4.5x and 3.6x, and if I do that, because I always do my work on the side just so I don't make a mistake, 4.5 plus 3.6, put my decimal, 6 plus 5 is 11, put 1, carry 110, 4 plus 3 is 70, plus 1 is 8, all right, 8.1x plus 2.65y. That would be my final answer of what was the total cost in Danielle's grocery purchase written as an algebraic expression. All right, now you're going to be doing some Ed Puzzle work. I did it again. I didn't write the unit. I'm awful at this today. They were all in dollars. All right, now I'm really done.